Thank you for joining us on Black Investments Matter. I'm Antoine Anderson, and today we're going to be tackling the question of how old is too old to be making your own financial decisions. This is a touchy subject, but we got to get into it. Well, unless you've been living under a rock, there has been some instances in the media this week concerning decision makers, particularly the age of some of our decision makers in this country. This is Mitch McConnell, 81 years old. He is the Senate minority leader, and this is not his best day. Um, there was a moment mid sentence, mid speech, that he paused, and that moment ended up being about 19 seconds. Those 19 seconds have gone viral. The man looked like he didn't know where it was. The man looked scared in this photo. It just doesn't look like he was all there, regardless of what you may say or think. I may disagree with his policies. I may disagree with his stance, but after all, when all is said and done, this is an 81-year-old man. And before we start downing him because of his age, let's also look at the faces of concern around him. There's a picture here. This is the face of compassion from a colleague. We have all, or maybe most of us, have seen what the effects of advanced age does on the sharpness and the quickness and the decision making of our elders. And that at some point in time, you know, there's going to have to be a discussion in your family on what's going to happen next. Now, before we jump too far down on Mitch McConnell and what's going on with him, let's also talk about what's going on with Dianne Feinstein. Dianne Feinstein is 90 years old. She is one of the more powerful Senate leaders in her caucus on the Democratic side. Also, this week, she had to be reminded just to say yay or nay as she launched into kind of a rambling uh, speech on the Senate floor and during a procedural vote. Again, we're not looking at these octogenarians and nonagenarians, as Dianne Feinstein is, as something to be shunned or you know scoffed at. But we're talking about the decision makers of our country's policy, our policymakers, and the effects of aging on that. 90 years old. It doesn't stop there, of course. Joe Biden is in his third year of his first term. Joe Biden is 80 years old. Um, he has had his gaffes in the past as vice president. You know, his age has always been an issue when it comes to electability in the party, and it is becoming increasingly so now. I remember when Bernie Sanders was facing criticism from his competitor during the Democratic primary against Hillary Clinton, and the hatchet job they did on him. But the concern and those questions were raised because of the advanced age of these octogenarians. These are people in their 80s. Now, if you think that I'm just coming down on particular parties, well, then let's look at the front runner, the young chicken of the bunch. That would be Donald Trump. Donald Trump is currently 77 years old, which means, as the front runner, should he make it to the uh, presidency following the 2024 election next year, by this time in his term, the third year of that next term, he will be actually 1 year older than our current president. He will be 81 in his third year of the next term. That's a year older than what Joe Biden is right now. Um, we could say what we want about their policies, but even before his age and his policy, this is a man who, by all accounts, has some serious anger issues. And we all know what it's like to be in a room with that old man in the club or that old man in the house with absolutely no filter. Um, the, the, the rash decisions they make, the things they talk about, does not pass the smell test when it comes to electability or competency when you get to that age. And this is why we're talking about this kind of stuff. Because, quite frankly, people, when it's time to give up the control that you have worked so hard for, you have to start planning ahead, designating persons or proxies that can handle your affairs when you become incapacitated. You need to start talking about living wills and trust, non revocable trust, getting in touch with some legal professionals that can set those up for you so that your will can be carried out no matter what state you are in. If you become incapacitated in some way, shape, or form, you're no longer able to make decisions. You need to be able to leave a proxy, somebody you can trust, or in lieu of that, some documents to saying how your care is going to go once you are no longer able to care for yourself. This is something that we don't take nearly as serious as we should. Even in the process of filing for certain grants, um, part of the application is asking for a succession plan. What happens to your business, even if you're a sole proprietor? What happens to your business when you pass away? Why should we give you this grant? If you pass away, what happens to the grant money we gave you? Well, you gotta think about these things, and these entities, that are these lenders, or these grantees, grantors, they're gonna want to know, and you have to be prepared to answer that. This is a touchy subject because no matter what we may think, if we live long enough, we're all gonna have to face this question at some point in time of our lives. Now, I let off with the political aspects of it because, quite frankly, the policymakers will dictate where those funds come from for our small business administrations, your retirement. These are people who are at the age of retirement, long past the age of retirement, and they're making decisions. And is it fair to someone younger to be at the will of somebody who may be experiencing, as with the case with Mitch McConnell, some type of health crisis? We've got to look at this kind of stuff. Now, if you're looking at me right now, you're seeing a man with a bunch of gray hairs in his beard. I'm 53 years old. I have seen a lot. I don't know it all, but I do know that the wise thing to do as a wise leader and a wise financial uh, investor, entrepreneur, whatever you want to call me, the best thing to do is to have that kind of plan ahead and plan ahead. You got to plan for your advanced age. I hope this reaches the right people, and I hope it reaches you in the right tone. But we have to now begin the process of getting your ducks in order before it's too late. Leave your comments and concerns below. Let me know what you think, and I will talk to you very, very soon.